welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about luxury and judgment. Yay! No, be somber. This is serious. Okay, no, it actually is, but I hate making angry, feisty videos. I am a little fuzzy ball of rage, like deep down. If you meet me, I get really riled up quite quickly. But I don't like that to be permanently associated with me. And that's the thing about videos, is they are permanent to some extent. Yeah, so today I want to talk about luxury and judgment. Mostly just how it has impacted my life. I think we all know the general BS that just comes with living in this world, okay? Women are disproportionately judged for enjoying luxury, for spending their money however they want, okay? A man can buy a $50,000 car and no one blinks an eye, but a woman, goodness forbid she buy a $4,000 handbag, she must be petty or selfish or high maintenance, just a total waste of space. It's nonsense. I hate it. It makes me so angry, but I think we all know that stuff. That's not the purpose of this video. I want to talk about my experiences, the things that I've gone through and how it shaped my opinions. I haven't really decided like how many personal details I want to share in this video. And like I said, I don't really like being angry on camera, making negative content, so I think we're gonna wing it. We're gonna figure it out as we go. I am doing this to have a conversation with you. As with all of my videos, I am doing this to connect with people. To be quite frank, I started my YouTube channel because I had no one else to talk to about this. I was a little bit lonely, and this has been one of the most humbling and beautiful experiences of my life. Okay, no, don't cry. It has been one of the most incredible experiences of my life, getting to meet such brilliant, fierce, beautiful women, and a few gents. I think you're all marvelous. And you have empowered me to enjoy the things that I love. And so I just want to come on here and talk about luxury and judgment, and I'm gonna do it without having any tears. So let's start from the early age. When I was little, I was a big tomboy. Still kind of am, you know? I think I've really learned to embrace all sides of like the masculine and the feminine and the child and the old lady, all of those things that live inside of me, and we all have them to different degrees, and I think we're happiest when we just accept whatever they are, whatever we are naturally inclined to be. But when I was a little kid, I was a real scruffy little tomboy, and some of this was influenced by the negative stereotypes surrounding the girly girl. I was subconsciously told, I think like so many young girls, that the girly girl is just frivolous and petty. Maybe she's a mean girl. Maybe she's a million little things that she doesn't have to be, that she's not. And I'm talking about like the metaphorical mean girl, obviously. Look, some of them are. Those exist. And then it just perpetuates these stereotypes. So I wanted to, as a kid, I wanted to remove myself from that. I wanted to be as far away from that image as possible. So I wore baggy basketball shorts, oversized t-shirts. I wore my soccer jerseys typically. I played soccer and I did swimming and all that stuff as a kid. And I really was just this scruffy little tomboy, and I proclaimed loudly that I hated shopping and I didn't want to go shopping with my mom and my sister, who I always considered to be far more feminine than me. And they're not into luxury shopping whatsoever. they're into clothes and they're into fashion and like they like Coach and Tory Burch, all these things. But like I'm definitely like obsessed with fashion, and it's so interesting to see this trajectory. I wish I had felt empowered to enjoy all these things earlier, but I wasn't. So that was me as a little kid, and thank goodness I got over that. But I didn't appreciate it. I think to get past something, you need to understand it first. And I didn't understand these influences until I was like in college. So now let's get into that. Sorry, I do need to kind of work in pauses into this video to kind of take a deep breath. So that's why there are pauses. When I was in college, I really embraced my love of thrifting, and it meant that I could buy clothes at a more affordable budget, okay? I worked my butt off in college. If you don't know, I got a math degree. I worked in fast food for 3 years. I did that until I could make enough money tutoring. Education was always so important to my parents. I actually watched my mom get her bachelor's degree in nursing, and I know how much they sacrificed to make that happen. So the idea that a woman who's into fashion doesn't value more serious pursuits is ludicrous. It really infuriates me, but that's something. I really got to explore fashion when I went to college and I had a car and I could go anywhere I wanted whenever I had some free time. So I would often go to a thrift store, and I had a boyfriend at the time. We were together for about 5 years. Some of it, well, a lot of it was long distance, and I think that kept some of our issues like out of view, you know, because you're always riding this high of like being together, being apart, being together, and oh, the joy and oh, the sadness of being apart. Like that roller coaster, I think, kept a lot of our fundamental issues out of the way until until I ended that relationship. And the main reason was because I knew I could not be myself around him. I found myself hiding little parts of myself. I felt too embarrassed to tell him that I spent the afternoon shopping, that I went to a thrift store and I bought some things. Sometimes I would tell him and I would get really snide, snippy comments and just like, of course you were, you know, and I felt embarrassed about if I was carrying a shopping bag. And again, it all came back to this narrative surrounding women who enjoy shopping because our world judges them. He was no exception to that. No, okay, that's not a fair way to phrase that. He contributed to that. Plenty of men and women do not judge people who enjoy shopping. My lovely husband, Ben, part of the reason that I married him is because he's really one of the first men, just one of the first people where I could just be completely myself. Even the parts that I want to get better at, even the parts I'm not very proud of, like this part might make me cry. Okay, I'm not going to. Oh, I'm very emotional today. What a day to do this video. But he was the first person where I was able to say like, yeah, I went shopping this afternoon, or I really like this purse, and he does it with me, and he loves me for it. He wants me to save, and he wants me to be very mindful of my spending. He encourages that in us because this is our future, and my spending is a part of that future. So I appreciate him kind of like encouraging me to rein things back occasionally, but I've never had to be embarrassed. I've never, even during months when I've spent too much, I've been able to tell him like, yeah, you know, I really want to rein this in. Like, okay, clearly I spent too much this month. This is what I'm saving for, but I don't have to hide. So back to this earlier fella who was like a very nice guy, you know, and there were a lot of great things I took away from that relationship, but ultimately I ended it just because I couldn't be myself. And I actually went on a huge closet purge when we were together. I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I did it because I was influenced by his snippy comments, you know, the, oh my God, look how many jackets you have. And I had collected those jackets from all around the world. I got some in Scotland, I got some in Germany, I got them around the US. I would often go to thrift stores whenever I would travel. I kind of regret getting rid of some of them. Fortunately, not all of them, but I did have a very large collection. I have a poor memory to some degree, and when I hold something, all of those memories come back. I think that's true for a lot of people. That's what I love about clothes. They're just living memories that you can walk around with and wrap yourself up in. And when I wore a jacket, I was immediately transported back to Scotland, back to Germany, back to Paris. And those things that he said influenced me to get rid of them. So that's one way that judgment can be really just terrible. And obviously that was just clothes. Like the thing I lost, if we're just being practical and breaking this down, the thing I lost in that exchange was some jackets. And that's not that big a deal. They were some jackets. I still do my best to keep those memories alive in me, and ultimately I really learned from that situation. So it's okay, but I'm disappointed that I let someone influence me in that way. That's not the kind of person I want to be, and I think I am doing better. So that is one way that luxury and judgment kind of came into my dating life. I am generally attracted to outdoorsy people. I like people who are a little bit rough around the edges and are really capable and capable. Okay, that is something that is not associated with people who enjoy shopping, which is silly. But that's definitely a stereotype. So oddly enough, like most of my friends, the people I've dated, they're not into fashion. None of my in-person girlfriends are. And I have made some very real friendships through YouTube and Instagram, and people that I deeply care about. I think those relationships are just as real, just as important as any of my in-person friendships. But just talking about my in-person friendships, none of my girlfriends are into luxury at all. It would be absolutely crazy for them to spend $100 on a purse, let alone $4,000. They have been incredibly kind, though, and I'm a little bit disappointed that I actually didn't share it with them sooner. I'm still kind of holding back on telling them certain things and showing them this channel. I don't really share this with my friends and family. There's one friend who has seen it, and I think I'm going to start showing it to others. There's another friend who just randomly found it on Instagram, and I really appreciate how kind and open they've been. I should have known they would be. They're lovely people. There's a reason we were friends to begin with. Even though it's not their thing, they've really had this attitude of, that's not my thing, but you're happy, and I'm glad that you're happy. I'm glad that you're enjoying these things. You're entitled to spend your money the way you want to. As long as you are safe and happy, that's all I care about. And that's generally my attitude. I say this all the time, you know, your body, your business, your money, your business. I don't know what's best for you. I can just do my best to give my advice, share my experience, and then people can do with that what they will. But I really appreciate how my friends have done that. I still don't always wear my luxury things around my friends and family. Definitely not around my family. I just don't, I don't know, I still feel weird. I still feel a little reserved sharing that. My parents know about my 2 Chanel bags because I wore my white classic flap at my wedding. They know that I bought that for myself, and they know that my husband got me the black reissue as kind of a wedding / birthday present, because we got married 3 days before my birthday. So that was all kind of wrapped up together, which is very, very sweet of him. So they know about those two. I don't mind sharing those, but I do still feel weird saying, I spent this much money on this thing that is so far removed from what they would do. So that's the family side of it. I also had a family member who found my Instagram, contact my mom. This was really disappointing to me. Also because there is a safety side of this, which I'll get into in a moment. A family member contacted my mom and was like, can you believe Meghan bought this thing? How could she spend her money this way? I would never do this. And my mom told me about it. You know, she wasn't trying to make me feel bad. She wasn't like trying to spread the gossip, but it was just like, should be aware, like so-and-so has seen your thing, and they had these comments. I told them, listen, her money, like this is not, I'm not contributing to this, which I really appreciated my mom doing. My mom and I, we have not always like seen eye to eye on certain things, and I think our relationship has come a long way in the last year. I really appreciate how she handled that. And it's fun, you know, like people can think whatever they like about it. Fortunately, I'm not that 12-year-old insecure kid anymore. One of my favorite quotes from Princess Diaries, which honestly, like, don't you learn everything you need to know from movies growing up as a kid? Okay, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And my brother always told me, you're the only person stuck with you for the rest of your life. So focus on being someone you want to be. Be the person that you like, okay? Because you're stuck with you. You have to live in your head. You don't have to be around any of these people, but you know what? If you do that, the right people will follow. You'll run into the right people. They're everywhere. And so that was such an important takeaway. And it's something I always try to remember when I'm dealing with judgment of any sort, but yeah, certainly in this fashion world, because I love this fashion world and it is a big part of my life. So there was that experience with the family member. And the reason I bring up the safety security thing, part of the reason I don't tell my friends and family, because I don't want them to talk to strangers about this side of my life. I want to control this space. I am very careful about where I post, how I post. It's not to like distance myself from the people I'm truly connecting with. It's just simply a safety thing. And if, let's say, a family member goes running their mouth to a friend of a friend or whoever, like, you can't always know people, unfortunately. You can't always trust that you know a good person when you think you see them. I've definitely learned that the hard way sometimes, and I am careful, I guess, about what I expose myself to, and a family member might not realize it's a security risk to go running their mouth about my name, my channel, the things I have. Because I think anyone who's done YouTube, like, you see the scary side of it. You see how women in particular are targeted online for harassment, theft, all those things. So it's just something I do my best to combat, like, just from an early stage. So there's that side of things. Now getting into luxury in the workplace. I do not carry my luxury goods into the workplace. And this is something that I feel pretty conflicted about, because obviously I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think you should let people bully you into certain ways of behaving. But on the other hand, like, so I'm very idealistic in that way. You know, it's wrong. I hate it. I don't want to contribute it. I don't want to validate their opinions by letting them manipulate me anyway. But on the other hand, I also acknowledge that, like, this is my paycheck. I can't control what people do. I can't control how they're going to interpret what I do. And I don't want it to screw with my money. I don't want it to mess with my career. And unfortunately, women can be really judged for bringing luxury into the workplace. It's not fair, it's not right, but it happens. So I wouldn't want my carrying in a luxury bag, for example, to mess with my ability to get a job I wanted. We have certain contracts where we work with people who would consider it in very poor taste for me to carry a luxury handbag. They're wrong, but unfortunately that still influences my life, what they want to do. So I personally just choose to avoid that whole situation. I would never criticize a woman for bringing luxury into the workplace. I think that's fantastic. My way of kind of is just celebrating them and just being happy for them and not contributing to any negative gossip and all that BS. I don't know what's right. This is one area where I'm like, I don't know, but this is what I do. I just try to keep it out of the workplace. There's nothing wrong with it. But that is the reality of my work situation. Everyone's is different, so I can't say what's right for your workplace. I think you just have to decide, like, these are my ideals, these would be the potential consequences, what do I want to do? Just weigh those. So that's really just the workplace. I always dress nice, obviously, and I like some subtle designers. I can bring those in because people wouldn't recognize them. In this area, I'm only concerned about the consequences. Otherwise, when it comes to friends, family, online, I'm really not that concerned with what people think of me. As I've always been taught, the right people will follow, and everything else is just noise. So yeah, that's the work area side of things. So there is one more area that I want to talk about. Okay, I've just talked a little bit about like my early life, my friends, my family, my work. But then there's luxury judgment from within the luxury community, okay? Some brands are considered more prestigious. Okay, there's like these tiers of luxury. And it's so freaking silly. Why would anyone who already experiences external judgment then contribute to judgment within the community itself? Like, I know it feels kind of silly talking about like the luxury community, but these are the words that we've accepted. Like everybody knows what they mean, so those are the words I'm going to use. Why would anyone who enjoys luxury fashion of any kind, whether that be an H or a GG or a CC or a CD or whatever, okay, why would they contribute to the judgment? I don't understand. And it confuses me and it makes me angry because I think all of these things stem from insecurity. Happy people don't put other people down. Secure people don't put other people down because they don't feel like they're losing anything in lifting someone else up. I don't understand. You know, in the same way that, like, how many times do we have to cover this? Don't judge a book by its cover. Okay, this is elementary. I think the reason, yeah, like within the luxury circle, it really annoys me is because like they should really know better. I don't want to say like people outside the luxury community, like they don't know any better and that like they can't help all the ways that they've been subconsciously influenced to judge women who enjoy shopping, but they have been, unfortunately, in the same way that when I was a little kid, I carried these things. Now, yes, I escaped it, I educated myself, and I broke away from that thinking, and I think that they should too, but I don't know, I guess there's like almost like a little bit of grace and a little bit of understanding in my approach to those people, and like I just tried to educate people where I can. But people within the luxury community, like, you should know better, okay? Never try to put someone down for liking what they like. I think it's incredibly rude to call someone's style, like, directly boring versus tacky or like any of these things, which like, it's not just, there's a huge difference, I think, between saying like, oh, that's so low class, or, you know, it's so gross for people to like these things, versus like just saying, that's not my style, you know? Saying I like plainer clothes, or I like simple styles. I don't get it. I don't know how we're still covering these lessons with educated adults. Like, if unless someone is simply taking care of you, if you can buy yourself a nice bag, like, I assume you're a professional of some kind, and therefore you must have some exposure in this world, some education. You should know better. We can't know. I mean, ultimately, doesn't it just cover the entire theme of this video? You can't just know a person from looking at them and seeing the colors they wear, the kind of brands they wear, the logos or the no logos, or however it is. So why waste your time passing those judgments? How about you instead spend your time getting to know them, finding out what kind of person they are, what kind of values they have. Do they have a generous spirit, a kind heart, a fun sense of humor, all the things that actually matter? You can't know. This is what happens when I get riled up and I have no direction, I have no person to talk to. There's nothing to keep me on track. But yeah, if I have to just summarize this whole thing, don't judge people, like, for dressing how they want to look. There are certain things that a person does and you should critically evaluate them. There are things worth judging, but how someone looks, how someone dresses, not a part of it. Not a good thing to judge and criticize. I don't understand how we can have so much access to different kinds of people and a wealth of knowledge at our fingertips. How do these ideas still get perpetuated? It really bothers me. I don't like to see nastiness of any kind of petty behavior. Oh, and that's another thing. When people within the luxury community are nasty to one another, when they're petty and mean-spirited, people on the outside see that, and it perpetuates these ideas that they have about luxury lovers. They see that snippiness, like, it gets out, okay? People pay attention. I'm not saying this is headline news, but people become aware of these things, and then that perpetuates this idea that all luxury lovers are petty and silly and selfish. I don't like those things, and that stopped me from enjoying luxury goods for a long time. It made me feel uncomfortable carrying them because I didn't want to be associated with people like that. Now, that was very different from like the workplace situation where, like, obviously I got past it because that's not going to influence my career. I now just carry my goods around wherever I want. If I am going out to a restaurant, like, I don't care about what passerbys are thinking of me, what someone at a table next to me might be thinking about me. It's not really going to matter. That's a them problem. If they are making a quick passing judgment on a stranger, someone they're never going to know, and thinking nasty negative thoughts about them, that's a them thing. It is not a me thing. So yeah, I would love to continue this conversation with you in the comments. If you have any stories you want to share with me, I know a lot of people like to read the comments, and they definitely appreciate anything you have to share. I'd love to know you better, obviously. I would love to know more about how this has influenced your life. Are there places where you don't carry your luxury goods? Are there places where you've been surprised about, like, how open and people have been, like, the good, the bad, whatever you're thinking about? Because I've certainly been surprised at some people's openness, some people that I felt nervous to share my love of luxury with, and they've been incredibly kind. So I think it's important to always give people the chance to be themselves. And then whatever they do is up to them. If they want to be a good person or a not so good person, that is on them. You just be you, you embrace you, and try to do your best just to be happy and yourself. That's all I wanted to say. But thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you next time. Bye. I wonder if the birdie chirping will be audible when I'm editing. I can certainly hear it. Their joy infuriates me. It's the nice thing about curly hair, it's just always like one off, vibing on its own, doing its own thing. We should all endeavor to be more like that one lone curl, free, in the wind, doing whatever, without a care. Who cares about what society thinks? Metaphorically, like the rest of the hair. Okay, I don't need to use this many metaphors in this video. And then there's the kitties, and they constantly judge me. Oh my god, you would not believe the side eye I get when I bring in a Chanel bag. Sherpa's like, really? Again? Could have spent that on kibble. Do I get a nice vacation this year? No. No, they're lovely. They're incredibly supportive anyway. Oh, Sherpa loves the boxes, actually. I think the cats are the biggest fans of my luxury spending, and I really appreciate their support. Just a moment of thanks to the kitties.